Well, hello, everybody. Welcome in once again to another edition of Get to Know the Royals right here on the Queen Sports Network YouTube page. As always, I'm Mike Lennon, and today I am joined by a very special guest and one of the newest members to the Queens community, and that is Mr. Terrence Warren, who has come on board as the Associate Athletic Director for External Operations. And Terrence, thanks so much for joining us here this morning, and of course, welcome to the Queens family.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Well, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about your athletic background, with this, of course, being an athletic channel and such like that. But let's go back to your playing days. You were a standout dual athlete in track and field and, of course, football at Hampton University. On the track, a 13-time All-American, 2-time national champ in the 200 meters. You were a track and field junior gold medalist and even qualified for the Olympic trials in '92. I mean, what does that stuff mean to you in terms of when you look back on your career? And we'll talk about the football side of things, which, of course, you found yourself being drafted by the Seattle Seahawks. But, what does that stuff mean to you when you look back on it now?
That was a great time in my life. It was a time when I was truly learning who I was as a young person as well as an athlete. A lot of the things that I was able to accomplish, I didn't really see myself early on doing that. But going to Hampton and having the coach in John White that I did, he poured something in me and really showed me that I had the potential to do some great things. And just through hard work and commitment, opportunities came for me.
Well, you mentioned the hard work. I have to imagine, especially, again, we talked about being drafted in the '93 NFL draft by the Seahawks, played in a couple of different places. I have to imagine the work ethic really came out of, you started that obviously early on in life, got to a very high point in the collegiate aspect, and then, of course, you go on professionally. So can you talk a little bit about your work ethic and how you think that's helped you exceed to where you are now?
Well, I feel like every day that I didn't work out, someone was getting better than me. So I always want to put that effort in to give my best to it. Each day that I woke up, I wanted to do something new and get better in a way that I hadn't been before. My coach taught me, who's Joe Taylor, the luck is when hard work meets opportunity. And I felt like being prepared, was the best way for me to take advantage of an opportunity. And as luck would have it, even when I walked onto the football team and the pros came about seeing me, it wasn't so much that they came to see me. There were other teammates who were getting looks. And I just happened to ask one of the scouts, "Can I run for you today?" As an affording, and he was like, "Well, who are you?" And I told him who I was, all of that. And I ran a 40 time and it was 4.2.
Wow.
And he was like, "Well, run that again." And I ran it again. And then he was like, "Well, give me your film." I gave my film. And from there, the scouts just started coming. And
Awesome.
it just proved positive that hard work pays off.
Well, and that's such a cool story. And, not very often you get to talk to somebody who was drafted in the NFL draft. And of course, such a story like that of just, sometimes you just have to take that chance on yourself and just ask. So that's pretty awesome. And I love the kind of the poetic of your coach, Coach Taylor, in terms of talking about luck is when hard work meets opportunity. I like that. That's, like I say, pretty poetic.
And I pretty much live by that throughout my life. Even in coming to Queens, it was a chance happening. I happened to be at my previous job, Johnson C. Smith University, and there was a gentleman on the track working out, and he was doing some techniques for high jumps. I decided to just go out there and introduce myself to him and kind of give him some pointers. As luck would have it, it was an alum of Queens. Who happened to be good friends with Sherry. And he said, "Hey, there's someone I would love for you to meet." And introduced us 3 years ago. We talked for about 3 hours that first day, became good work peers, good friends. And, as luck would have it, when an opportunity presented itself to come here, she called me first. So I jumped right at the opportunity. So once again, preparation.
Yeah, preparation. And of course, again, just putting yourself out there and showing that work ethic. And obviously that has brought you to bigger and better things and continuing on that. Looking at your professional journey, of course, after the NFL, you went on to another professional world, and it always stuck around the athletic side of things. What is it about athletics that just speaks to you on a different level and that you've wanted to involve your life around?
Well, my college experience was a very transformational experience for me. It really helped me define who I am, who I was at that time, and who I would become. Athletics had given me so much. I wanted to give back to that profession. And I knew long before I even finished college that my career would be in athletics. So the opportunity came for me once I retired, went to graduate school, but then I knew I needed to focus on trying to get back in. And it's like with having my coach, Joe Taylor, was now the AD at Hampton University.
Hmm.
I had a position for intramurals director. It was entry level, but it got a foot in the door, for me. So I took that, and as luck would have it, a gentleman later, about 3 or 4 months later, had resigned, who was our athletics business manager. I had recently gotten my MBA in business, so it kind of worked out for me to just transition to that role. And from there, I just kind of took off in different positions, from Hampton to Delaware State, Johnson C. Smith. I spent a short time at the Orange County Sportsplex in management. So, I've been able to do a lot of things, in a fairly short amount of time as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, you're well traveled, but in a good way. It's one of those things that, I'm sure at each one of these stops, you've learned something new, not just in your career, but of course about yourself as well.
Well, thing about athletics, you get to work with different leaders. Some good, some not so good. So in those, those steps, I learned how to, take notes from the good ones and from the ones who weren't so good. These are things that I don't need to do in my next position.
And so, again, sometimes you can learn just as many lessons from the good and the bad, right? You talked about your early career kind of getting around, and then now, you're here at Queens, and I know you talked about that chance meeting on the track, but was it about Queens and working with not just Sherry, but from Sherry on down in terms of all the folks you've met so far? What is it about Queens that just really kind of brings you back every single day?
Queens is a very welcoming space. Even before I started here, I got so many emails and text messages from coaches and staff just introducing themselves, welcoming me, saying, hey, if you need anything, give me a call. It's a very close-knit community here, all the way up to the president's office. Everyone has been just very engaging. And if I can do anything for you, just call anytime, So I love that aspect of it. I love the fact that the Queens program has worked hard to become who they are now. And I see Queens as a gold standard in Division II athletics.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And of course, I get to see them from the sidelines, but of course, also the behind the scenes stuff and how this place is ran. And, I think the one word that always comes back into my mind, besides this, how hard these folks work, is how humble everybody is and how approachable people are here at Queens. And of course, I'm sure you've found that, like you said, here in droves since you showed up on campus.
It's been a great experience. There has not been a question that hasn't been answered. Oftentimes, the question was answered before I even asked it. They have constantly made sure, do you have everything you need? Is there anything else that we can, make this process easier for you? So it's just been that, just very engaging, very supportive. It makes you want to come back every day.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, can we talk about what your responsibilities are going to be here at Queens a little bit? And, again, you're going to be serving as the Chief Athletics Revenue Officer here for the athletic department. Can you talk a little bit about what you do on a daily basis and how you think you can bring your own spin to this job and kind of help progress the athletic department that, of course, like you said, is in such good standing already, but always that room to get better and better?
Well, my key role will be revenue generation. So a large part of that is going to be alumni relations, donor relations, and stewardship. I love this position in particular because it's very relational. I've always been had I've always had the ability to engage people, make friends, things of that nature. So I think the key role for me is just getting out into the community, telling our story, and making sure that everything that we bring forth, we deliver back on the same way. Think about revenue generation is not always transactional. It's very much so relational. So in that aspect, you have to always, bring your A game, know people up close and personal, and not just from a distance, and just be your best authentic self each day.
Sure. Well, in that kind of conversational and ability to network, it is something that can be learned to an extent. But, where do you attribute kind of getting that personality from in terms of, just kind of putting yourself out there and really just being able to welcome folks in and have that approachability?
Well, I think when you look at this as not being a job, your attitude about it changes. To me, it's about friendship. It's about engaging them in a way that is more than what they can do for us, but how can we assist you as well? One of the key things that I ask people when I approach them about donorship is, what are some of the things that are important to you? How do you see yourself partnering with this institution? So learning their ideas and what is important to them, plays a key role in that as well.
Sure, absolutely. Well, before I let you go, and I know you got a busy schedule ahead of you here, but one other note I did want to make was you just named one of 20 senior level administrators that was selected to participate, in the NCAA Pathway Program. I know that aims to help folks attain positions of director of athletics, conference commissioners, and so on. Can you talk a little bit about what it means to be a part of something like that and kind of what the ultimate goal of that is?
I'm very excited to be in this program. We actually had our first day of meeting on yesterday.
Okay.
The Pathway Program is something that was in my view many years ago. Anyone who truly wants to grow and develop to become an AD wants to go through that program. I had kind of sat back and watched for a while and watched a few of my peers go through that program and become ADs as well. And I felt this year the time was right for me to apply. And it just so happens that it fell along with me being hired at Queens. So I have a great director of athletics who's excited about it, who's encouraging about it, and will allow me to really grow in leaps and bounds. She actually said to me yesterday, this year is going to be like drinking from a fire hose. So, and that's very true. I accept the challenge and the task, and I look forward to growing.
Well, I had a similar experience getting here in February myself. It was definitely drinking from a fire hose. I've heard that once or twice. Just kind of following up on that, what kind of inspiration, or I guess I should say drive, does that give you to be a part of an environment like this that wants to see you succeed and doesn't want to see you just have to sit in the position you have? You always want to get better, and I know that's really been your work ethic all along. But what does that foster for you?
Being a part of a team that's very supportive and excited about your victories makes you want to do well for them. It makes you want to put your best efforts forward. Some days will be very long, some days will be very challenging, but in the midst of it all, because of who you're working with and who's surrounding you, you're okay with doing the work. You don't have an issue doing the work.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, very well said, Terrence, and I appreciate you joining us here this morning. And of course, looking forward to catching up with you as things go along. And of course, very much looking forward to working side by side with you every day. So thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your time today.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to do it for another Get to Know the Royals. Make sure you come back and join us each and every Tuesday morning right here on our YouTube channel at 10 a.m. right back here on the Queen Sports Network. As always, I'm Mike Lennon for Terrence Warren. We appreciate you joining us. And as always, go Royals.